Hello again, Gooners. Gonna keep it short and sweet. Obviously, we're not in the mood to chat after that defeat against Spurs. We didn't play that badly, but we lacked a cutting edge. We weren't incisive enough when we had the chance to pass or shoot. We didn't always take that chance. That final pass, I thought the final pass wasn't quite happening. I noticed we were looking very vulnerable down the middle, and of course, the goals came from balls down the middle. I don't know why we're not tracking players. You might say it's lack of effort, or is it lack of organisation? I'd say the latter. I think we do lack organisation defensively. Must drive Steve Bold absolutely crazy, which obviously brings me on to the point I've been mentioning that Arsene does need to listen to the staff he's got at the club, and perhaps we need to introduce more staff. That I feel was the answer. Certainly the answer as well. You know, when you're looking at the squad, I was thinking, who's going to rescue this game? We're losing 2-0 from two very poor goals from our perspective. You know, defensively, we didn't go with a man, and then Chesney came rushing out and got nowhere. Chesney made the task of scoring a goal look quite easy, really, and I'm very reluctant to say that sort of thing usually. And then when we were chasing the game, who did we bring on? Rosicky. Well, as you know before, I'm not a huge fan of his, but he did supply a really good pass at one point in the game. Other than that, didn't do a lot. Oxlade-Chamberlain, why didn't he get a chance? I don't know. Podolski, that made sense, but he should have come on earlier. Or is he just injured all the time? It's a bit of a mystery. Somebody called it his invisibility cloak. I'm not so sure. He's always going to remain invisible, but we need answers, really. We need answers. We need points. But the good news is, I think we will accumulate, and you're going to think I'm completely crazy by saying this, but I actually think we will accumulate more points than Spurs this season, even though we're now 7 points behind them. The reason being is they've got a really tough fixture list coming up. They've got Liverpool away. I think they'll lose that. They'll beat Fulham. They'll probably only get a draw at Swansea. They may only draw with Everton. Chelsea, they're not going to get points from, I don't believe, even though Chelsea are on a bit of a poor run of form, some people are saying, even though they're still winning games. Manchester City, I don't see them beating them, even though it is at the Lane. I think they'll beat Wigan, Southampton, and final day of the season, Sunderland, but I think they'll only draw away at Stoke, so that would give them 69 points come the end of the season. I've got us down for 70 points. So I think we just will edge in front of Spurs. And I didn't manufacture this to give you good news. This is how I read it. I think we may only pick up a point at Swansea. So I'll just talk about the games we're going to drop points. Swansea away, I see that as a tough one. Obviously, Man U at home, I don't see us getting any points from that. Um, Newcastle away, I think I put that down as a point. Although I think we could get three there. So we may well finish 4 points ahead of Spurs if all of that comes true. Then looking at Chelsea, funnily enough, I've got them finishing quite a long way ahead of us, which you won't be pleased to hear. Man U, I don't see him picking up any points from that, and I don't see him picking up points away at Liverpool. And they may drop points away at Fulham because it's a local derby, they're a fiercely contested one. So they may drop a few points here and there, but quite honestly, I still see them finishing ahead of us, 4 points ahead of us. And the one thing, though, who are these teams losing points to? Obviously, Spurs and Chelsea have to play each other, so both are going to lose points, or one at least is going to lose points there. Then what about Liverpool? We keep forgetting about Liverpool and the danger they pose. Well, I've got them down as winning virtually every game, apart from Everton. Apart from Everton at home, I see them dropping points, probably 2 points there. And if they manage to go on a run like that, then they would finish on the same number of points as us. So, it's not a foregone conclusion, is it? So, should I discuss the game other than the mistakes that were made? I don't know if there's much to discuss really with that game. It was just it just we didn't have the personnel. Simple as that. And of course, what makes it worse is we've got so much money in the bank, and it's just sitting there untouched year after year after year, and our points totals seem to be falling year on year, and certainly performances have fallen. And well, just take a look in the trophy room if you don't believe me. Of course, I know you all do believe me, particularly on that, but not everyone believes me that we should keep Arsene. I say we keep Arsene, but we add to the list of staff members and give them more influence. Make it a bit more of a democracy. At the moment, it feels a bit like a dictatorship. Whether that be true, I don't know, but that's what it feels like from the outside looking in. Anyway, was this guy a Democrat or was he a dictator? It's Herbert Chapman I'm talking about, obviously reading from Steve Stammer's official biography of Arsenal Football Club, the compelling story of an amazing club. You have to have your downs, right? Otherwise it wouldn't be a story. So we'll come back, don't worry. Anyway, back in time to Chapman when he was a player. This is about. So, if you consider the great managers in football, few were exceptional as players. Arsene Wenger, Bertie Mee, for example. Both had the ability to absorb the finer tactical points of the game. They used that knowledge to mould highly successful teams. Chapman was of this ilk. In the jargon of the era, he was a robust inside right, that's like right-sided midfielder really, and he compensated for his lack of individual talent with application, determination and natural strength. When I say right-sided midfielder, I don't mean like he wouldn't be hugging the touchline, as the name suggests, the position. Inside right, it was inside the winger. Where was I? Okay, for most of his playing career, he remained an amateur, which meant where he played was governed by what work he could find. For instance, while at Grimsby in 1898, at the same time as his brother Tom, he took a job in a local solicitor's office. But he was not a great success at Grimsby. A 7-0 hammering in the FA Cup by powerful Preston North End went hand in hand with a mediocre league season, and the club finished 10th at the end of 1898-99. They tried him as a striker the following season. That didn't work, and he left the club soon afterwards. He then tried his luck at non-league Swindon Town, but was unable to find a job to finance his football there. After 3 games and 2 goals, he left, and his league football career came to an abrupt halt. However, motivated by his love of the game and his determination to play it, Chapman signed for Sheppey United, that's in Kent. Unfortunately, they finished bottom of the Southern League despite his contribution as top goalscorer, and once again he failed to find work. So he returned to his Rotherham roots and played for Worksop Town in the Midland League in 1900 and 1901, also resuming his studies at the Technical College in Sheffield. Because of his studies, Chapman played mainly for the reserves and only occasionally for the first team. On one of those rare appearances, however, he played against Northampton Town, who were suitably impressed with his tough and gritty approach, and he was offered a contract. And in 1901 he signed as a professional. He was a regular during 1901-1902 and ended the campaign as top scorer, 14 goals from 22 games. Things were very much on the up for Chapman. Sheffield United had seen him play in the FA Cup. They liked what they saw. They offered Chapman a contract at the end of the season. He accepted, but as an amateur, because he wanted to make use of the engineering qualifications he'd worked so hard to acquire. Things were different at Sheffield United, where he was suddenly surrounded by internationals. He played 22 games, scoring twice during 1902-1903. He found it increasingly hard to hold on to his place in the team. He moved again in 1903, this time to Notts County, for £300. He found life just as hard there. In 2 seasons, he made only 7 appearances, scoring just once. And the following year, County opted to lend him to Northampton. And a year later came a permanent move, ironically, to a Southern League team by the name of Tottenham Hotspur. He cost Tottenham £75 and he repaid their faith by scoring 11 goals in the 1905-1906 Southern League season. But the following season wasn't as successful. He found his appearances had become sporadic and he scored just 3 times. In 1907, Chapman had experienced enough of a player's life. He decided to leave professional football for good, or so he thought. Of course, this brings us on to Chapman's spell as a manager. But that's enough for this time. Until the next time, away and up the Gooners.